So I'm trying to practice looking through the turn. One of the things that really helps avoid those survival reactions or those panic reactions is to look ahead, like way up ahead, and scan for surface hazards, and also just track your path that you intend to take. Let me check my signal. Yeah, the signal's off. Last time I thought I turned it off, and it wasn't turned off. But yeah, looking up ahead has the effect of slowing things down visually. See, if I'm looking way up there, the road hardly looks like it's speeding past, whereas if I look down at the ground like this, you can see pavement lines just sort of rushing by really quickly. The more and more you look up, the slower. The telephone pole looks like it's coming at us slowly, and there's bicyclists are coming up slowly. So looking up ahead, and keep your head and eyes up, and scanning further down the road, and also scanning through a turn, like looking at the exit of a turn as far as you can look up ahead, that tends to really help. I mean, sometimes if the turn is really long and you can't tell where it's going to end, and it feels like it's going forever, at times like that, looking too far ahead can make you sort of almost cut across the inside, and your turn rate gets too high. But you can just adjust by changing where you look, and that has the effect of, like I talked about before, it has the effect of changing the way your body responds and steers the bike. I think we're coming up to another relatively tight turn there. But looking way up ahead slows down the situation, and it's a really good thing to do, whether you're on the freeway or going through a turn. Oh, this one's really tight. Right here I'm looking pretty much at usually a lot of these are blind corners, but I'm looking as far as I can towards the edge of that blind corner. So that way I won't be tempted to look across the center line and then cross over or go off the cliff on the right side here. So if you look at, hopefully it'll show up in the video that where I'm tracking my camera is actually the center of the view as it's tracking. So hopefully be looking towards where I want to go, and not directly in front of me. So I'm always looking up ahead like this. Oh yeah, well this is the other thing about turning while I'm on the subject. Slow, look, lean, and roll on. You slow down for the turn, get the good right speed for entering it. Look, lean the bike over. As you go through the turn, you should be constantly accelerating. Right there, I was a little bit late on the gas. But the effect of rolling on helps stand up the bike a little bit and stabilizes it through the turn. This is why you actually want to be on the gas all the time in the turn. You never want to top the throttle. Topping the throttle can induce wobbling, all kinds of bad shit. So stay on the gas. At the very least, there's something called maintenance throttle, where you sort of keep it constant, and then until you can see the exit of the turn clearly, so just stay on the gas but not accelerate. Just sort of stay on it evenly, and as you see the exit of the turn and you feel confident that you're going to make the turn fully, then you can start rolling on right at that moment. You always give yourself a safety margin or an escape route. You always give yourself options when you're riding a motorcycle for safety, especially on the street, because riding on the street is so incredibly dangerous that I'm pretty unwilling to encourage people to ride a motorcycle, at least people around me. I think you've got to really be hard up for it. Like, you have to really want to do it, and it has to be sort of like a passion. It is very risky. You shouldn't underestimate the danger of riding a motorcycle. I mean, you might make a mistake, and sometimes other drivers might make a mistake, other motorcyclists may even make mistakes. What's another thing to think about when turning? Well, one of the things I discovered while practicing on my Ninja 250 was that as I counter-steered into a turn, I could roll on the gas to a very nice, comfortable turning rate. So I had counter-steer, and I had to keep rolling on and rolling on more gas and then counter steer a little more to counteract it so I could hold my line exactly the way I wanted to. And it felt very comfortable, but it also didn't feel like I was going super slowly. But the problem with that technique is that it only works if the turn is a constant radius or an increasing radius turn. As soon as you get to decreasing radius and you're in the middle of like constantly accelerating, you may run into a situation where you feel you're going too fast for that turn, and then you cross the center line. And I've done that a couple times on the Ninja 250 in my earlier riding days. Coming in a little too quickly, and then it's a decreasing radius, and it's like, uh-oh. And of course, on all 4 occasions that I did this, it was totally deserted, and there's no one in the oncoming lane. But it was not my smartest moment. So you gotta take it easy. Now this part gets a little, this part's really twisty. Practically doing little U-turns and stuff. But the CBR really turns in really quickly. You gotta get used to the weight of the bike, because this bike is much heavier than the Ninja 250. It feels a lot heavier. It's got a lot more just heft to it. You have to use a little more muscle to steer this bike. If you relax and you just sort of turn the handlebars at these slow speeds like this, it turns in very nicely. It just falls into the turn beautifully. And the perched up, slightly more forward seating position makes it, it adds to the feeling of maneuverability and agility. So shit like that is the kind of thing I worry about. Like if cars like that are speeding around and one of them decides to cross the center line, then, you know, it's goodbye to SF Ninja and these videos. Nice knowing you guys. So I'm not a huge fan of blind corners and super tight, twisty roads. I would much prefer the huge, open, broad, fast, sweeping turns like that. If you watch that Top Gun video that I made, the PCH video, the 80s style, that's probably my favorite kind of road to ride because it's nice and fast. And you can really just enjoy the cornering, but without having to worry about not being able to see what's coming up. Because all those turns on PCH, you pretty much see what's coming up a long ways away. So here our Mulholland Highway continues over into the 55 mile per hour section.